Tell me about your friends, because you count some of the best-known people in the world among your friends. There was a dinner you went out to with Michael Jackson, which you describe in the book. Tell me about that, because he seemed almost lost when you took him out to a restaurant, lost looking at a menu. What do you remember about that evening?
Well, Michael Jackson was literally he's a very good guy, and he's having a difficult time. But he was literally to go to a restaurant, and we went to Le Cirque, the great Le Cirque, and with Sirio, and Michael was sitting at the table, and he just it was just like he was never at a restaurant before. He didn't know about menus, he didn't know about things. He was just, and I said to him, when was the last time you were at a restaurant? And he said, many, many years ago. And I could believe that was true, because he was so at ease at the restaurant. It's just, restaurants aren't his thing.
Did you have to order for him?
No, I mean, he did fine. I'm just saying that he was just not somebody that was exposed to this kind of a life. And what really was interesting was at Le Cirque you had these great celebrities, and they had never asked for an autograph in their life. People asked them for autographs, and they were coming up to my table asking Michael for his autograph. That, to me, was the funniest part of the evening.
Sylvester Stallone, another friend of yours.
Well,
you play golf with him?
He is. He's a great guy. He's a good golfer. He's a very smart guy. You know, people don't give Sly credit for the brain. They give him other credits, but they don't give him credit for that. He's a very smart guy who's done a terrific job. And, I mean, you know, he insisted on playing Rocky. They were going to have somebody else play Rocky. He wouldn't let it go without him playing. I mean, this guy is smart and tough, and he's a terrific guy.
And Frank Sinatra you fell out with at one point, didn't you? What was all that about?
Well, I had a dinner, and I actually apologize in this book for it, because I said some negative things about Frank in my second book. I mean, he's just been a terrific guy over a lifetime.
How did you fall out, though? What was the incident?
He was very rough and tough at a table with somebody, not me, with somebody at the table, namely his wife. And I was really shocked at it. I was surprised at it. I mean, I've seen a lot of things, so I don't get shocked too easy. But I've been, you know, I was just amazed at how bad this particular incident was. And then I realized, I mean, you go outside and everybody's pulling at his coat strings, trying to get his autograph and trying to break him down one way or the other. And it really was pretty tough from a lot of standpoints. And as I mellowed coming into my third book, I said, you know, I feel badly about writing about him. And I did the same thing with Malcolm Forbes. I mean, Malcolm Forbes was a great guy and a friend of mine. But when I was having trouble, Forbes magazine put me on the cover, and they started doing some negative stories and everything else. And I didn't feel good about Malcolm Forbes. And then I realized he was just doing his thing. He was just doing his job. He was doing the right thing. And I apologized to Malcolm Forbes, because he was really just doing his thing. And, you know, Malcolm Forbes has since died, and New York City has lost a great guy and a great character.
Greed, corruption. I mean, you say, it's a throwaway line in the book, greed is good.
Well, I don't think greed is good. And as you know, they did the famous film with Michael Douglas, Wall Street, where greed is good. But that is not the case. I mean, I think greed is bad. I think that you have to enjoy what you're doing. If you enjoy what you're doing, it'll be successful, generally. If you don't enjoy what you're doing, it's almost never going to be successful.
Rich men are always targets. The richer you get, I suppose, the bigger the target that you present to people. How much does that worry you?
Well, I think that rich men, I guess, are always targets. Rich people are always targets. And I think that there's a level of celebrity that I've attained which has become so ridiculous now that it makes me an even bigger target. So it always bothers me, but there's really not much I can do about it. I mean, I can't
ridiculous
help it.
In what way, the celebrity level?
Well, it's just become very tough to go out. It's very tough to do things. It's very tough to just even go to a restaurant, in a sense, because it's always shaking hands and signing autographs and things. And, you know, it didn't used to be that way.
But that's a symbol of success, is it?
It is, but
it's of your own success.
It's not necessarily a good symbol. It's really, it causes lots of problems. I mean, you go out and you want to have dinner at a restaurant with a group of people, and it ends up being a big event, and you have people waiting at the entrance to the... It's just a very tough way to lead a life, I find.
The importance of getting even. Is revenge sweet?
I believe strongly in getting even. If somebody has hurt you, if somebody's gone out of their way to hurt you, I think that if you have the opportunity, you should certainly go out of your way to do a number on them. And I've had more criticism about that one statement in my book than any other statement. The clergy is called, the ministers, the priests, the rabbis. They've all said, what a terrible thing to say. That's against our teachings. I just believe it. I believe in an eye for an eye.
If you did turn the other cheek, as the clergy are presumably suggesting to you, what would that do to your reputation in business circles here in New York, do you think?
Well, I don't know what it would do to my reputation. I just don't believe instinctively in turning the other cheek. If somebody was out to hurt you, if somebody was out to do a number on you, I really believe that you should just do a number on them if you get the chance.
You haven't had a good press. You haven't enjoyed relations with the press. You think the press has misled you, lied to you.
Well,
Is
I think that
an occupational hazard, or do you think you've been really badly treated?
I think it's occupational hazard. I think a lot of the press is very dishonest. I think a lot of the press is really, really dishonest. But I think that I've been totally, you see, most people think I get great publicity. I happen to think I get terrible publicity. So, you know, what can I say?
Do you mind what people write about you?
I used to
what people
mind much
say
more.
about you?
I used to mind much more. The one thing I have learned, it's a one-week phenomena. It doesn't matter. At the end of a week, usually at the end of a day, but usually at the end of a week, it's totally gone. You don't even remember the story. And once you get that into your head, you can live with it.
The lessons that you've learned over your career, nobody leans on you, do they? You're very, very focused about that.
Well, I think I help people. I like people. I have a good relationship with people. I have a lot of great relationships in terms of business and in terms of people generally.
Do people try to lean on you?
Yeah, everyone tries to lean on me, but I have lots of really good relationship, and I don't mind being leaned on if it's to help somebody. I think I really enjoy helping people at high levels and at low levels. I feel it's very important to give to charity. I give a lot of money to charity. I try and help as much as I can. But you know, there are times when you just have to say, that's enough. That's all I can do.